8:15 p.m. West Pakistan time, 9:15 p.m. East Pakistan time. This is Radio Pakistan. The President, Mr. Zulfikar Bhutto, this morning visited the Hussain sector in the course of his current visit to Lahore. He addressed officers and jawans of the Pakistan Army. From this address by the President, we bring you recorded extracts.
काफी अरसे से मैं चाहता था कि मैं आपसे मिलूं, राब्ता कायम करूं, लेकिन आपको मालूम है कि 20 दिसंबर से जब से ये जिम्मेवारी मुझे मिली है, उस वक्त से काफी काम रहा है। मुल्क को फिर बनाना है और इंशाअल्लाह ताला बनाएंगे। ये मेरा आपके साथ वायदा है। मेरा ईमान है कि पाकिस्तान को इंशाअल्लाह ताला एक मजबूत मुमलिकत बनाएंगे। कायदे आजम ने कहा था कि सबसे बड़ी इस्लामी मुमलिकत बनेगी, और सबसे बड़ी इस्लामी मुमलिकत है। और क्यों हमें ये दिन देखने पड़े? इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि आप बहादुर नहीं हैं, इसलिए नहीं क्योंकि हमारे ऑफिसर साहब बहादुर नहीं है, हमारी फौज बहादुर है, ऑफिसर बहादुर है, लेकिन क्या वजूहात है? फिलहाल इस पर कुछ तबसरा करना मैं इस वक्त फजूल समझता हूं, क्योंकि अब तक हमें मुकाबला करना है। दुश्मन के सरहदों में पर हम खड़े हैं, उनका सामना हो रहा है हमारा। हम नहीं चाहते कि बड़े सगीर में जंगी जंग होती रहे। हम अमन चाहते हैं। अमन अमान के लिए हमने कोशिश की है, और जारियत पाकिस्तान ने नहीं की है, जारियत हिंदुस्तान ने की है। इसलिए क्योंकि पाकिस्तान को हिंदुस्तान ने अफसोस से कहना पड़ता है कि अब तक तस्लीम नहीं किया है। हमने हिंदुस्तान को तस्लीम की। पाकिस्तान के लिए मुसलमानों ने क्यों जदोजहद की थी, क्यों कशमकश और कुर्बानी की थी? इसलिए कि हम अपना मुल्क बनाएं, और वो मुल्क एक इस्लामी मुल्क हो, जहां तरक्की हो, जहां हम गुर्बत और नादारी और इफलास का मुकाबला कर सकें। लेकिन अफसोस से कहना पड़ता है कि कायदे आजम के इंतकाल के बाद और कायदे मिलत के शहादत के बाद मुल्क में निजाम ऐसा आया जैसे कि हमारी तरक्की न हुई, गरीबों की तरक्की न हुई, लेकिन हम पीछे हटते गए, मुल्क पसमंदा रहा, गुर्बत बढ़ती गई। तो जब इस सूरत हाल में मैं और मेरे दूसरे साथियों ने ये परचम उठाया कि पाकिस्तान को हमें मजबूत करना है, पाकिस्तान के गरीबों की हम तरक्की चाहते हैं, पाकिस्तान को हमें बनाना है, पाकिस्तान में हम मुनसिफाना हुकूमत चाहते हैं, तो वो लोग जो सही तरीके से हमारे हिंदुस्तान से भी ज्यादा दुश्मन थे, उन्होंने तरक्की नहीं आने दी पाकिस्तान। उनकी ख्वाहिश ये थी कि हमारे लोग गरीब रहें। उनकी ख्वाहिश ये नहीं थी कि गरीब के बच्चे अच्छी तरह से तालीम हासिल करें, कि न सिर्फ गुर्बत रहे लेकिन हमारे लोग जाहिल रहे। क्यों जाहिल रहे, क्यों गुर्बत रहे? क्योंकि वो फिर मुल्क पर इस्तेसाल कर सके, गरीबों का खून पिए, लूटें, मुल्क को लूटें, मुल्क के वसाइलों को लूटें। इसलिए हम इस नौबत पर पहुंचे। ये नहीं कि आप बहादुर नहीं है और हमारे ऑफिसर बहादुर नहीं और हमारी फौज बहादुर, क्योंकि इन लोगों ने मुल्क को लूटा, हमें उन्होंने गरीब रखा, हमारी कौम को उन्होंने गरीब रखा। सारी दुनिया में तरक्की हुई, पाकिस्तान में उन्होंने तरक्की लाने न दी। और जब हमने परचम उठाया एक किस्म के इनकलाब का, तो उन्होंने कहा कि हम खतरनाक लोग हैं। उन्होंने कोशिश की कि आपके और हमारे दरमियान में कोई मुलाकात न हो, राब्ता ही न हो। अगर मैं तकरीरें करता था, लोग सारे पाकिस्तान के लोग सुनते थे, सब सुनते थे, लेकिन आपको इजाजत नहीं थी, अफसर साहबान को इजाजत नहीं थी कि मेरी तकरीरें सुने। क्यों? कौन सा खतरा था? आप अब मुझे सुन रहे हैं। कौन सी खतरनाक बात मैंने की जब मैंने कहा कि जुल्म और सितम को खत्म करना चाहिए और हमारे गरीबों की तरक्की होनी चाहिए, पाकिस्तान को मजबूत बनाना चाहिए? तो कह दीजिए इस्लाम के खिलाफ है। लाखोल्लाह, इस्लाम के खिलाफ हम किसी सूरत में नहीं हो सकते। हम मुसलमान हैं, इस्लाम के लिए हम जान देंगे। और मैं एक मुसलमान की हैसियत में आपको कह रहा हूं, और एक पाकिस्तान की हैसियत में कह रहा हूं कि अगर हिंदुस्तान अमन अमान नहीं चाहती है और हिंदुस्तान जंग चाहती है, तो फिर जंग होगी। तो इसलिए इस्लाम की हमें खिदमत करनी है। हम मुसलमान हैं, लेकिन इस्लाम किसका इस्लाम? इस्लाम आपका, देहातों का, गरीबों का, मेहनत कशों का। इस्लाम उनका नहीं जो वलीकार दाऊद जैसे लूटने चाहते हैं मुल्क को। तो इसलिए हम चाहते हैं कि मुनसिफाना हुकूमत हो। हमारे कितने पैसे बाहर पड़े, मुल्क के पैसे, ذرائع مبادلہ ہمارا کتنا یہ باہر لے گئے. کیوں آپ کو ہتھیاروں کی ضرورت نہیں ہے؟ کیوں ہمیں ٹینکس کی ضرورت نہیں ہے؟ ہوائی جہازوں کی ضرورت نہیں ہے؟ اور جب ہم کہتے ہیں کہ یہ پیسے واپس لاؤ تو کہتے ہیں جی ہم سے ظلم ہو رہا ہے. کون سا ظلم ہو رہا ہے؟ جب مزدور کے بچے جیلوں میں جاتے ہیں, جب ان کو کوڑے لگتے ہیں تو وہ ظلم نہیں ہے؟ اگر ان کو میں نے کہا کہ گھر میں بیٹھو اور باہر نہیں نکلو تو کون سا ظلم ہے یہ؟ ذرائع مبادلہ لائیں, کیونکہ یہ قوم کا ذرائع مبادلہ ہے. اور آپ کو ضرورت ہے, فوج کو ضرورت ہے, اقتصادیت کو پھر بنانا ہے. تو ترقی کرے, اگر ہم ترقی کریں گے, پاکستان کی تعمیر بنائیں گے, پاکستان میں اگر انصاف اور عدل رہے گا تو میں کہتا ہوں نہ صرف ہندوستان, ساری دنیا کا پھر ہم مقابلہ کر سکتے ہیں انشاءاللہ تعالی. اور میں نے جیسے کہا کہ ہم امن امان چاہتے ہیں, کیونکہ ہمیں اپنے ملک کو بنانا ہے, پاکستان کو بنانا ہے. ہم ہندوستان کے سرحدوں میں نہیں رہنے چاہتے, ہم صرف ہندوستان کے علاقوں میں نہیں رہنے چاہتے, لیکن پھر وہ بھی ہمارے علاقوں سے ہٹ جائیں. انہوں نے مشرقی پاکستان پر جارحیت کر کے قبضہ کیا ہے ہمارے سب سے بڑے صوبے پر, جہاں پاکستان کی اکثریت رہتی ہے. وہ گئے کہ انہوں نے کہا کہ ہم مشرقی پاکستان کو آزاد کرنے جا رہے ہیں. تو اگر وہ آزاد کرنے چاہتے ہیں, جو مشرقی پاکستان کا جو لیڈر تھا ان کو تو ہم نے یہاں سے آزاد کر کے رہا کر کے بھیج دیا مشرقی پاکستان, تو پھر اب کیا کر رہے ہیں ہندوستان کی فوج مشرقی پاکستان؟ پھر کیوں نہیں ہٹ جاتی ہے مشرقی پاکستان سے ہندوستان کی فوج؟ کیونکہ وہ آزاد کرنے نہیں گئے تھے مشرقی پاکستان کو, وہ مشرقی پاکستان کو اپنا غلام بنانے گئے تھے. لیکن مشرقی پاکستان ان کا غلام نہیں رہے گا, کسی صورت میں ان کا غلام نہیں رہے گا. کبھی مسلمانوں نے کیسی ذلت کی زندگی قبول نہیں کی ہے. ایسی ذلت کی زندگی سے ہمیں موت زیادہ بہتر ہے, موت زیادہ پسند ہے, کیونکہ آخر مرنا تو ایک دفعہ ہی مرنا ہے نہیں, تو کیوں نہ باعزت اور غیرت اور جسارت سے مرے, کہ دنیا کہے کہ یہ ایک بہادر قوم تھی. تو میرے دوست, میرے ساتھی, مجھے بڑی خوشی ہوئی ہے کہ آج مجھے یہ موقع ملا ہے. میں آپ کا وزیر خارجہ تھا, اس وقت بھی مجھے یہ موقع نہیں ملتے تھے آپ سے ملاقات کرنے, لیکن اس کے بعد تو بالکل نہیں. اگر اچانک کسی آفیسر صاحب سے ملاقات بھی ہو گئی کہاں, تو اس سے پوچھا جاتا تھا تو کیا ہم محب وطن نہیں تھے؟ اب جب سب سے بڑا بحران ملک میں آیا تو پھر آخر اگر ہم محب وطن نہیں تھے تو ہمیں یہ ذمہ داری کیوں دی گئی؟ کیونکہ عوام کی مرضی تھی, یہ عوام کا آواز تھا, یہ آپ چاہتے تھے. اور انشاءاللہ تعالیٰ آپ دیکھیں گے تھوڑے سے عرصے میں میں اپنی پوری کوشش کروں گا. مجھے اس کرسی میں خواہ نہیں بیٹھنا ہے. اگر آپ نہیں چاہیں گے تو میں فوراً اسی وقت ہٹ جاؤں گا. یہ آپ کی مہربانی ہے اور آپ کی مرضی پر میں اپنی ذمہ داری سنبھالوں گا, اور پاکستان کا تعمیری کام کوشش کر کے کروں گا. لیکن میں اکیلا نہیں کر سکتا ہوں, میں بذات خود کوئی چیز نہیں ہوں. میں آپ کی, سب کی, عوام اور فوج, مسلح افواج کے تعاون کے ساتھ اور عوام کے تعاون کے ساتھ میں پہاڑوں کا بھی مقابلہ کر سکوں گا, کیونکہ وہ پھر میرا مقابلہ نہیں ہوگا, پھر وہ قوم کا مقابلہ ہوگا. تو اس لیے جو کچھ ہم کر رہے ہیں آج کل, جو کچھ اقدام لے رہے ہیں, یہ نہیں کہ مجھے بات پسند ہے, لیکن لینے پڑیں گے. جب کوئی مریض بیمار ہو جاتا ہے تو اس کو اسپتال میں جانا پڑتا ہے. تو یہ ہمیں موجودہ صورتحال یہ ہے, اگر ہمیں صنعتوں میں کچھ نہ کچھ حکومت کا کنٹرول کرنا پڑے گا تو یہ آپ کے مفاد کے لیے, قوم کے مفاد کے لیے. اگر ذرائع اصلاح لانا پڑیں گے وہ بھی آپ کے مفاد. جو کچھ آج کل ہو رہا ہے یہ اسی مطلب اور منطق سے ہو رہا ہے کہ پاکستان کو پھر ہم مضبوط کریں اور قائم کریں. اس لیے اب میں ہندوستان کے قریب کھڑا ہوں, ہندوستان کی حکومت کو میں کہہ رہا ہوں کہ کیا چاہتے ہو آپ؟ امن امان چاہتے ہو, سکون کی زندگی چاہتے ہو, آپ چاہتے ہو کہ آپ اپنا ملک بنائیں, ہم اپنا ملک بنائیں, تو پھر ہم اس کے لیے تیار ہیں. اور ہم یہ چاہتے ہیں کہ آپ اپنا کام کریں, اپنے لوگوں کی ترقی لائیں, خدمت کریں اپنے لوگوں کی. کیوں ہندوستان میں بھی غربت نہیں ہے؟ ہندوستان میں بھی غربت ہے, ہندوستان کے لوگ بھی بھوکے مر رہے ہیں. تو وہ اپنے لوگوں کی خدمت کریں, ہم تیار ہیں, ہم اپنے لوگوں کی خدمت, ہم اپنے پاکستان کی خدمت کریں گے, پاکستان کو بنائیں گے. تو فیصلہ ہندوستان کو کرنا ہے. اگر اس قسم کی زندگی چاہتے ہیں ہم اس کے لیے بالکل تیار ہیں. اگر وہ نہیں چاہتے, کہتے پاکستان کو ہم تباہ کریں گے, ہم نے ایک صوبے کا ہم نے کنٹرول کیا ہے, ایک صوبہ ہمارے ہاتھ میں, اب ہم پاکستان, مغربی پاکستان کو بھی اسی طریقے سے تباہ کریں گے, تو یہ سب سے بڑی غلط فہمی ہوگی. یہ سب سے بڑی غلط فہمی ہوگی. اگر وہ سمجھتے ہیں کہ طاقت کے ساتھ, اپنی فوجی طاقت کے ساتھ وہ پاکستان کو تباہ کر سکتے ہیں, یہ نہ صرف ان کے لیے ایک افسوسناک اور خطرناک دن ہوگا, لیکن سارے ایشیا کے لیے. اور پھر تو آپ دیکھیں گے کہ ہر گھر میں لڑائی ہوگی, کیونکہ پاکستان کا جو روح ہے पाकिस्तान का जो मतलब है, पाकिस्तान का जो निजाम है, वो किसी सूरत में मिट नहीं सकता। पहले भी जंगें हुई हैं, सरहदें एक तरफ से दूसरी तरफ गई है, लेकिन जो कौम है, कौमियत नहीं जा सकती। तो इसलिए फिर बड़े सगीर में अंगार होगी, आतिश होगी। हम नहीं चाहते, ये फैसला उन्हें करना है। क्या वो आजकल अपने मगरूरी में और तमकनत में समझ रहे हैं कि जी अब हम पाकिस्तान को गले से पकड़ के खत्म कर कुचल देंगे? किसी सूरत में नहीं कुचल सकते हैं, ये मेरा वायदा है। मैंने बहुत ज्यादा तकरीर की, क्या करें, हम सियासतदान तकरीर करते हैं नहीं बहुत ज्यादा, लेकिन मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई है कि मेरी आपसे मुलाकात हुई है, और खुदा आपको खुश रखेगा, आपके बाल बच्चों को खुश रखेगा। अब मैं फिलहाल खुदा हाफिज कहता हूं, बाद में फिर मुलाकात हो आप सबको।
The President, Mr. Zulfikar Bhutto, this morning visited the Hussain sector. He addressed officers and jawans of the Pakistan Army. You've been listening to recorded extracts from this address by the President. You're tuned to Radio Pakistan. The President, Mr. Zulfikar Bhutto, also, later this afternoon, addressed a press conference in Lahore. We now bring you the recording of the President's statement delivered on this occasion.
I don't want to hold too many press conferences, but events are moving fast, and you to try and explain some of the developments that are taking place, what we are doing. I always would like to inform the people of our decisions, the reasons behind the decisions, why we have taken certain decisions. This is all the more necessary because in the past we felt decisions just came down on the people like a thud, and all of us complained of lack of communication. You remember frequently when we met, I said at least the regime, the government of the day should inform us of the background, the reasons for taking certain decisions. So, unfortunately, on occasions, I will have to trouble you, not at airports and railway stations. As I've said, I think such interviews are dangerous. One should be fairly well prepared to meet the press, and so I hope you'll avoid unnecessarily taking the trouble to come to airports and railway stations. For a long time, I have been against such interviews. Even when I was information minister in the government of President Ayub Khan, I advised against the head of state making interviews at the airports and railway stations. So I would try to avoid that, but I'll try and keep in touch with you. We have an information minister now. I think he's fairly closely in touch with you, tries to keep in touch all the time, and I note that he's making good effort in this regard. Then we have an information advisor, and now I've appointed a press secretary. I don't want any overlapping of the Ministry of Information. I want there to be coordination. Information Minister is in charge of the Information Ministry. The advisor for information will assist him, supplement his work. As far as the press secretary is concerned, he will brief the press not twice a week, as I've heard, but once a week or once a fortnight. And he will remain in the background, anonymous as far as possible. And he will give briefing. He won't enter into arguments and discussions. He won't hold press conferences. He'll only brief the press on important matters. For instance, he might have to tell you that we are much stronger than the Soviet Union, but we have to tell the people that we are not stronger than the Soviet Union. You know, that sort of thing. I hope you understand. There has been some discussion in the press, chiefly in the press, about the convening of the National Assembly, and that martial law should be immediately withdrawn. Gentlemen, please note a difference in the present situation. I am the elected leader of the majority party. I represent the majority of the people of this wing of the country. I am their chosen leader, recently elected by an overwhelming mandate, a massive and an overwhelming mandate. My decisions are the decisions of the people as far as this wing of the country is concerned. My decisions are not arbitrary. They do not flow from some authority which does not stem from the people. It is not superimposed on the people. Only recently my party and I have received a mandate from the people. And the mandate has not yet come into operation, and if it has come into operation, it's come into operation only on the 20th of December. Only about 2 weeks ago, or 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there is a basic difference between the regime of President Ayub Khan, who got himself elected by an indirect vote of the basic democracies, which was not a direct vote, and there is a difference certainly between General Yahya Khan and my government, insofar as the fact is that I have authority from the people of Pakistan. I can listen to others, I can listen to them and try to heed to their advice, but the decisions will be mine. Like, for instance, in Parliament, there is debate. The leaders of the opposition say what they want to say. There's full debate on it. The government gives full weight to their debates and discussions, but the decisions are those of the government. So I am quite prepared to listen to advice from those who have been defeated in the elections, or those who represent a group in the assembly of 4 or 5 people. I'm prepared to listen to them. They'll have full freedom to express their views, but they cannot dictate to me what I should do, because they have no locus standi to dictate to me what I should do. They have been defeated they have been rejected by the people. They have been rejected individually, and as parties they have been defeated. I am not going to curb their freedom of expression, not at all, provided they remain within the bounds of national interest. We are quite prepared to let them say what they want, give them full coverage in the press, but we cannot be dictated by them, because our authority stems from the people. We are the majority party. And I have no qualms in calling the National Assembly to session tomorrow, as I've said again and again. We have an overwhelming majority in the National Assembly. And as a politician, I might like to have the cover of the National Assembly. In that case, if you think I'm a dictator, I can be a greater dictator by having the National Assembly convened. But I'm not a dictator. I hate to be a dictator. I don't want to convene the National Assembly session now, because by implication I will be recognizing a certain situation in East Pakistan. It's as simple as that. And if I am to do it by implication, why shouldn't I then do it directly? If you want me to do that, if the people of Pakistan don't want me to make an effort to keep the country united, if the people of Pakistan do not want to give the country a last chance to make a complete, thorough search to try and retain links between East and West Pakistan, all right, then call the National Assembly tomorrow. But then don't blame me for the implication. They have legal, constitutional, jurisprudential, de jure implications. In East Pakistan, the situation is different. In East Pakistan, the Awami League Party, its struggle, its objectives was such that if they take certain steps of this nature, it does not have implications for the unity of the country, it has implications for further severance of ties. Here, our effort is to try and keep the framework of Pakistan. So if we make an effort to try and keep the framework of Pakistan, and you don't want the framework of Pakistan to break, and God forbid, even if it breaks, don't you want to make Herculean, humane efforts right up to the end to try and see that it is preserved? Don't you want to make every sincere endeavor? Don't you want to resolutely and courageously, with conviction, with the belief in the Pakistan ideology, in the sentiment of Pakistan, don't you want to make that over the Pakistan ideology so fragile that it breaks with one great crisis of this nature? Let's make up our minds. Where are all those great stalwarts of the Pakistan ideology who during the election went hoarse about the Pakistan ideology and said it's imperishable, it cannot be broken under no circumstances? Then why do they want me now to take certain steps, either to give it constitutional recognition by implication, And some of them are even suggesting that I take direct steps and immediately recognize the situation. A very strange thing, I don't think the people want that. I think the people want us to make every effort. And as I have said through the press secretary, I don't think the last word has yet been said on this matter. I have taken note of Mr. Mujibur Rahman's statement on his return to East Pakistan. Yes, I've taken note of it, but then the whole thing doesn't end there. I have also taken note of the discussions we had here, and I have also to take into account the political objectives, the political realities of today and the permanent reality. I have to take into account the changing realities and the permanent reality. I want to maintain a flexible attitude. And I don't want to enter into any controversy with Mr. Mujibur Rahman or the leaders of East Pakistan. I am not going to enter into any premature controversy. I have hope that soon a time will come when we will be able to meet again. And I am making every effort that we should meet again. Please don't take Mr. Mujibur Rahman's words literally that we have broken all ties, we have snapped all ties with West Pakistan. How is it possible to snap all ties if you take his statement literally? Because in the world of today, neighboring countries have to have ties even when they are not on good terms. Here we are part of the same country, at least we've been part of the same country, of a common struggle for centuries, and at least as a common state for 24 years. How can those ties break forever? It's not conceivable. After all, I cannot imagine, I'm sure you cannot imagine, I'm sure the common people cannot imagine that the ties of Muslim Bengal and the Muslims of this part of the subcontinent can break forever. It's simply not possible. It's not conceivable to me. Muslim Bengal was in the forefront for the creation of Pakistan. Without the sacrifices of Muslim Bengal, Pakistan would not have come into being. Muslim Bengal was the most exploited part of the Muslims of the subcontinent. And then there is evolution in life. Things move on, move forward. There's Indian occupation today of East Pakistan. And it is absolutely imperative now that the leader of East Pakistan has returned to East Pakistan, that India should vacate her occupation. India claimed to have gone into East Pakistan as a liberator. Of course, it's a false claim, but that was India's claim. And if India has fulfilled her claim of liberating, into inverted commas, East Pakistan, then why doesn't she vacate now the territory of East Pakistan? Because we have gone back to the results of the December 1970 elections. The leader of East Pakistan is not in the presence of West Pakistan. He's a free man. He has gone back to East Pakistan. His party is again intact. And in that situation, there's no justification for Indian forces to remain in East Pakistan. Now, in this connection, I would like to make whatever humble contribution we can to see that the administration and the economy of East Pakistan is salvaged. Whatever we can do from this end. We don't have resources of the great powers. We don't have resources of the United States or of the other great powers. But I still consider it our moral and our political obligation to do whatever we can to assist the people of East Pakistan to reconstruct the economy of East Pakistan, the ravaged and shattered economy of East Pakistan, and also their administration. And in this connection, I have taken note of the appeal Sheikh Mujibur Rahman has made for food assistance from abroad. We are part of the same family, we are part of the same country. When he has appealed to the whole world, I don't consider his appeal in that connection as an appeal to the rest of the world. I still consider it as an appeal of our brethren in East Pakistan, and whatever we can do from this end, without laying down terms and conditions, I am prepared to go into this question and to see what we can do to assist in this matter. It's our duty. So I'm prepared to do that. My government is prepared to send rice to East Pakistan, or if we can send any other commodity. I don't think we can send wheat. We are short of wheat here ourselves. But even if it's possible, we can tighten our belts, and if possible, we'll be prepared to consider that also. But I know we are in a position to send rice to East Pakistan. We'll be happy to do so. And then, as far as the administration of East Pakistan is concerned, there are civil servants here from East Pakistan. and I will await any initiative from East Pakistan for their recall. If Sheikh Mujibur Rahman wants certain of the civil servants to return to East Pakistan to remake the administration, I'm prepared to send those senior officials and others to East Pakistan. I'm prepared to send army officers and officers of the armed forces to East Pakistan on the request of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, because they need to restore law and order. They want, it's necessary that the carnage and the killing must come to an end. And without conditions, we are prepared to do that. Whatever assistance we can give, whatever help we can give, I hate to use those words, whatever we can do, we are prepared to consider those measures. But in addition to that, there are about 28,000 people, citizens of our country from East Pakistan in the armed forces, and their future, the future of other East Pakistanis who want to go back. Those who want to stay here are welcome to stay. This is their country. But those who want to go back, we are prepared to consider sending them back. And again, as I said, without conditions. It would not be fair to apply conditions. But we also have prisoners of war from this part of the country in Indian hands. And it's essential for India not only to vacate her aggression from East Pakistan and West Pakistan, but it's also now essential for India to consider returning our citizens. The war has ended, there's a ceasefire. We are prepared for negotiations with our brethren in East Pakistan. We are prepared for negotiations with India. There is no justification for India to hold on to the prisoners of war, both military and civilian, that she retains in her control. And since we are prepared to do things unconditionally, without bargaining, without bartering, without blackmailing, we hope that India also responds in like manner. And this would be a good starting point for negotiations. So we are prepared to take all these initiatives, but I cannot take any firm, permanent decision at the cost of my country in a hurry. Simply not possible. We haven't even begun our negotiations. We've only had preliminary discussions. It will be necessary for Mujibur Rahman and his government to settle down and to consolidate before we can consider the second step. So till then, I'm afraid you will have to wait, and I know the people will understand. I'll ask any of you gentlemen to go out to the people, to the bazaar, to the shops, to the interior, and ask them if this is their demand. And you'll find that it is not their demand, because I know their demand, because I reflect their demand. And their demand will be met, but it will be met after these vital prerequisites are completed. In this connection, you know, we have severed relations with Bulgaria in the same connection, because the subject is the same. And if other states take any premature action, I'm afraid we'll reluctantly have to do the same. Why can't the world give us a little opportunity to come to a settlement? After all, no heaven will fall if we are given this opportunity. And what is the hurry in taking such a step? In the first place, the criteria necessary for taking such a step is not to be found yet. East Pakistan is under Indian occupation. A part of our country, our largest province, is under the occupation of a foreign power. The leader of East Pakistan and the party have merely recently installed themselves into government, and on the soon after the installation, some important changes have taken place in the administration, where the Sheikh Mujibur Rahman has changed certain posts, important posts, and these all are significant signs, they're significant developments. Authority is not fully in control of the administration, and the administration has on its soil foreign troops. In this situation, for anyone to accord recognition is unprecedented. And in any event, I don't see the reason why it's being done, because there is a military fait accompli, there's a physical fait accompli. Why can't then the world wait a little while and give us this opportunity to exhaust all efforts, because we hope that we can come to a settlement among ourselves one way or the other. But we must be given that opportunity to come to that settlement one way or the other. It must be a decision left exclusively to East and West Pakistan. For us to decide, for them and us to decide, what is going to be our future relationship. And as I've said, we are prepared to discuss this from one end of the spectrum to the other. I appealed to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, as he had said in London himself. I didn't appeal to him, I begged him to retain some connection and some links. And you have heard his answer, but then, as I said, the final word has not yet been spoken. And so the world should give us this opportunity, that Indian forces should vacate East Pakistan, and Mujibur Rahman and I should be given an opportunity to have these discussions. That's why I want our people to give us this opportunity, and I want the world to give us this opportunity. And I don't see what advantage any nation outside Pakistan gains by taking such a step. In this case, the United States was the first country to recognize Israel. Soviet Union recognized Israel 3 hours or 4 hours after the United States recognized Israel. So what are the relations today between Soviet Union and Israel? Is it that recognition itself is so important that it becomes a permanent factor of goodwill between states? No, not necessarily. Nobody remembers after 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, that which was the first country that accorded recognition. Because there are other more permanent factors that come into play. So I don't see why some countries are lining up, because they're not going to get any permanent goodwill. Permanent goodwill comes out of more permanent factors. We are on a very slippery wicket today. And please take into account the lessons of the last war. Some fundamental lessons should have been driven home. And if these fundamental lessons are not going to be driven home, then I'm afraid that it's not going to be one man's effort or one party's effort to try and save Pakistan. Pakistan has to be saved by the people of Pakistan. And we must display more maturity, more sense of responsibility. And who are these people who say that another Tashkent is in the making? People who have not even dared to contest elections. People whose deposits have been forfeited. They all have become experts on foreign policy. They all are speaking with authoritative ignorance. Second Tashkent, for me, my people know my character. My people know that I resisted two great superpowers when it came to the interests of my country. My people know that I defied India for the interests of my country. A second Tashkent for me, out of the question. I will go to Tashkent if I have to, but a second Tashkent in the sense of its implications out of the question. I consider it derogatory of the dignity and self-respect of the people of Pakistan for these people to say that individuals who have no roots, these rootless phenomena, to say that there's going to be a second. I will never betray the interests of Pakistan and the people of Pakistan. I'd much rather die than to do that. The people of Pakistan have confidence in me. They know that I will never betray my country's national interest. I'm not a person made like that. I'm not made out of that wood. My patriotism is repugnant to my sense of patriotism, to think that I will be cajoled or pressurized by any foreign country. My strength and my roots lie with the people of Pakistan. And as I have told the people of Pakistan, I'll go to them if great powers or other countries try to bully us. Because they're not bullying me, I'm only a post office. The pressure is not on me as an individual, the pressure is on the people of Pakistan. I'll go directly to the people of Pakistan and tell them that the pressure is on you. Are you going to succumb to this pressure, or are you not going to succumb to this pressure? And I know they won't succumb to the pressure. The answer will not be given by me. The answer will be given by the people of Pakistan. That is the difference between Ayub Khan and Yahya Khan and myself. Because on Ayub Khan and Yahya Khan, the pressure was on an individual. And this time the pressure is not on me, because I represent the people. I have not usurped power in Pakistan. So I will go to the people. So I know the people of Pakistan will not be worried. I know if I start negotiations with India, they will not be worried, because they know that I'll never barter away their interests. They'll go to sleep in peace. Because they know me, they know my character, they know my background, they know my struggle. So it's not the people of Pakistan who are saying these things. And to take them into confidence, that these talks are held in secret. How are talks held between two countries? Is a microphone put there and a television put there? Is that the way President Nixon and or he conducts negotiations or discussions? Is that the way anywhere in the world that these talks are held in secret? How else are they held? Throughout the world, they're held like that. Sometimes the head of state, they only meet among themselves, without any ambassadors or anyone else. Sometimes they meet with their ambassadors, but they're always held in secret. But the difference is that there is accountability at the appropriate time. And there will be accountability. If I were to betray Pakistan's interest, if I were, I can't imagine it, there will be accountability for it. And I will be accountable to the people of Pakistan. Because I have no guns and cannons behind me not to be accountable to the people of Pakistan. And what did I go to Afghanistan for? I didn't go to Afghanistan for the Afghan sovereign to interfere in internal affairs. You know, I've always opposed foreign interference. Throughout my political career, I've opposed foreign interference. And you think that I'll go to Afghanistan and tell the king to intercede in our internal politics? Please be fair. Please be a little kind. I'm too sensitive a person. I regard myself as a spokesman of the people of Pakistan, and that would be a shameful thing for a spokesman of a great nation to go to another neighboring country and say, please assist us in our internal affairs. I went to unravel the mystery, ladies and gentlemen, I went to Afghanistan to thank His Majesty, King Zahir Shah, and the people of Afghanistan for not stabbing us in the back. Because there were many pressures on Afghanistan to create problems for us. I only went as a leader of a self-respecting country at the first available opportunity to say that the people of Pakistan are thankful that you did not increase our troubles when we were facing the gravest crisis in our country's history. Now, if by doing that I've committed a crime, then the people of Pakistan will judge it. And then confederation. Now again, I'm on record that in the past I've said so much on this question of confederation. I have said a country that fails, a country that becomes despondent, wants to pitch its bandwagon on others. A going concern, a going country, a country that is progressing, doesn't want to pitch its bandwagon with others, wants to develop itself, build itself. And I've said we have suffered for having this superficial idea of either hitching ourselves to one country or another. We didn't become independent to hitch ourselves to another country. If we had to hitch ourselves to another country, why did we de-hitch ourselves from the country where we were? If you talk in terms of confederation and federation, the first logical conclusion comes to India, because we were a part of India. If you accept the principle of confederation or federation, the first compulsion will be India. So those who have been talking about confederation and federation have done harm to Pakistan, and that is why we stand here today at this grave peril. So I am not a confederate with other countries. I know I have got enough knowledge of history, and I am on record to say that these are dangerous and naive conclusions people draw. And again they say, to have confederation. Confederation is not a simple thing. You know, the easiest form of government is unitary form of government. More difficult than that is federal form of government. The most difficult is confederal. If you can't run a federal form of government, I don't know how you'll be able to manage a confederal arrangement. So please forget it. And as far as His Majesty Shah is concerned, again, we have very good connections. We've had fraternal connections. We've had extremely good connections with His Majesty and Iran. We are neighbors. We are glad he came to Pakistan at this time. We should welcome his visit. But he didn't come on behalf of anyone. He's too seasoned a statesman to come and plead on behalf of anyone. Why should he plead on behalf of anyone? If a person and a regime have been rejected by the people of Pakistan, that's our concern. And to be fair to His Majesty, he never once mentioned this question. And nor did I expect him to raise it. Didn't expect him to raise it? He didn't raise it. He came there to show his sense of solidarity and his country's sense of solidarity. And apart from that, some people say Iran didn't assist us. Where was the time for any country to assist us? The debacle was so quick and sudden. So don't unnecessarily blame the whole world in that sense. And stop blaming the world. Let's build Pakistan. I know a little bit about foreign policy. I know the subject. I think I know the subject better than any other subject. So please don't think that national interest will be compounded or compromised by initiatives taken, and many initiatives will have to be taken in the field of foreign policy. And we are not going to subject ourselves to pressures under any circumstance. We want to try to make every effort to keep the unity of our country. And the unity of our country is not so fragile that it can be broken so easily. We will make an effort. We are making every effort. And I am committed, as far as I am concerned, to make every effort to see the unity of the country is preserved. It might, some of you might think it's a hopeless task. Well, this is the challenge. That some might think it's a hopeless task, but sometimes hopeless tasks are not so hopeless. Things that seem out of reach are not really out of reach. And I know that with the support and confidence of our people, with an understanding in the world, I think we will be able to do something. Something tells me in my heart that we will be able to do something. Something tells me about my political understanding of problems that we still might be able to do anything. But give us some time, a little bit of time. And I tell you, gentlemen of the press, I am committed to you, I am committed to the nation to restore democracy and to lift martial law. Please wait for some time. Today, if I lift martial law, I tell you, I won't be able to have these reforms at all. Neither the industrial reforms which we have initiated will be successful, nor we will be able to bring back foreign exchange which we are trying to get back, nor we will be able to have agrarian reforms, nor I'll be able to have labor reforms, nor I'll be able to have medical reforms, nor I'll be able to have educational reforms. And I know the people of Pakistan want these reforms. And as I've said, reforms in two stages. First are basic reforms, ones that are non-controversial. Manifesto comes into play in the assembly, the rest of it. Then let it be through debate and discussion. And manifesto is not supposed to be implemented in one day. Manifesto means at least 5 years, because 5 years is a term for a country. And then sometimes it's not possible even within 5 years. That's how life goes on, evolving from one progress to another. So some foreign papers have said, I've abandoned my manifesto. I've not abandoned my manifesto. I've told the people of Pakistan that my manifesto is a commitment to them. I'm now not a man who abandons commitment. But the circumstances in which I find myself today, I am not in a position to implement immediately, straight away, the manifesto. Nobody would be able to. So as I've said, we have done something basic, something absolutely necessary to clear the debris. So that will be done. And now, if we lift martial law, and if we want to play tricks with one another, I'll still have to retain emergency powers. And that means again new laws, going through again a legal process for the same end. Because there is an emergency in the country. Is there an emergency or not? Emergencies have been declared when there have been locust swarms and floods. We are facing more than locust swarms and floods. We are facing more than cyclones and hurricanes. Today, our major province, our majority province, is under foreign occupation. And as I've said, what difficulty we'll have. But there is an emergency. We are in the hospital. The nation is in the hospital. And you don't want me to perform surgery. Then you want the patient to die. Either this is the gravest crisis that Pakistan has faced, or it is not. It's an ordinary event. If it's an ordinary event, then you can talk that ordinary event. But if it is not an ordinary event, then please cooperate. Days will pass, you will see. I have proposed on about the 20th or 25th of this month to say something on the first step, something positive on the first steps that we are going to have for the restoration of democracy. But I'll make an announcement. Some people have said, I will implement certain actions. No, I told some gentlemen that I will make an announcement on the 20th or 25th for the first steps, and those first steps you'll see will come into wake also soon. I'm going to complete the elections to the local bodies, and I'm going to say something more on the question of political activities, assemblies, etc. But I can't today say on the national level. So don't keep rubbing it in. And if you keep rubbing it in, it doesn't hurt. Because only a few people are rubbing it in, those who want the reforms to be implemented and those who want us to really wreck ourselves. But we are going step by step. And I am hell-bent on seeing that this country recovers, that it's resuscitated, that it makes its massive contribution to its own people and to the subcontinent, Asia, and the world at large. Now, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, taking into account democratic principles, although I'm not under obligation for the moment to take into account democratic principles, I've held discussions with the leaders of NAP and Jamiatul Ulama, who are in a majority, a slim majority, in two provinces, It's not a very comfortable majority, but there is a majority. And that's why I held political discussions with them. That shows my good faith. Immediately on taking over, I had 2 meetings with the president of NAP. I had some meetings with the leaders of Balochistan. I've had one or two meetings with the leaders of Jamiyat ul-Ulama. My ministers for political affairs and others have also had meetings with them. The question is that in our discussions, the discussions we've had, those discussions, I have found them to be quite satisfactory. But unfortunately, the statements that are made outside, they don't reflect the discussions we have among ourselves. That causes complications. I still want to have satisfactory discussions with them. I'm aware of their position. I don't want to bypass anybody who's relevant. I regard them to be relevant. I don't want to bypass them. But they must also respond and cooperate. Now, after all, if they threaten outside and want negotiations inside, then it's not possible to do that. Because why threaten each other? You can threaten me if I am not agreeable to a certain point of view. The threat must then be given when we don't agree. But when we agree in principle, there's no need to give threats. So I would appeal to these gentlemen that don't use threatening language. I want to continue discussions and negotiations. I kept 2 ministries in the central government for a party that has only 7 seats in parliament. 2, and I've kept the industries portfolio, most important portfolio, available, and another portfolio which will have to be worked out. But you again see my bona fide, that out of a party having only 7 seats, only 7 seats in the assembly, I am still prepared to give 2 seats and 1 seat to Jamiyat ul-Ulama. So 3 seats I'm keeping available. But I can't keep them indefinitely available because the burden is very great on us. So we could have moved on. If they had come into the central government with 3 seats, then we would have come closer in contact with one another. We would have been members of the same team, and then we would have been able to evolve something satisfactory for the provinces as well. Because confidence begets confidence. And we could have gone on one step or the other. But immediately, unfortunately, some disturbances were created in Quetta that was absolutely unnecessary. A life had to be lost for no rhyme or reason. And the reason was that they were angered by the appointment of the governor of Balochistan. Now, the governor of Balochistan is not a military general. But they took a military general for 2.5 years. But when a Baloch was appointed for the first time as governor of Balochistan, and an elected Baloch, they got into a rage unnecessarily. And I was not under an obligation to consult them for the appointment of a governor, because I said in the first place, today we don't have a democracy in play, but yet I can accept democratic principles, because I'm a political being. But in any event, even if we had democracy fully into play, so far in Pakistan, the majority party in a province has not dictated who the governor of that province should be. Right from the time of Maulay Minto reforms up to the 20th of December, governors have been appointed by the central government. Governors have not been chief ministers in a parliamentary system, have been appointed by the majority party in the province. But governors so far have not been appointed by the majority party. So there is no, even under the parliamentary system, taking into account all our history of the past, governors so far have not been appointed by the majority party. And suppose tomorrow the majority party loses its majority in the provincial assembly, that means a new governor must come. And if both the governor and chief minister are to belong to the majority party, then what's the need of a governor or a chief minister? Then have only one. A poor country can't afford this wastage. The governor is supposed to represent the central government and take into account all factors in the provincial assembly, inspire general confidence of all parties. And in Balochistan, there are Balochis, there are Brohis, there are Pathans, there are non-locals. There has to be some reflection, because that reflection has come into the assembly as well, into the provincial assembly. So on my part, I'm quite prepared to continue these negotiations. I entered into these negotiations in good faith. And I said I consider them to be relevant factors. I don't consider them to be irrelevant like certain defeated people. They are relevant. They have been elected. They represent those provinces to the extent that they have been elected.
And I am prepared to take that into account, to reflect that in the arrangement. That's why I left 3 seats in the central government. In the provinces, I was prepared to discuss after they came into the central government. I thought that would have been easier. And for the governor, I have explained that I was under no obligation to appoint a member of the majority party as a governor in those provinces. So I think finally the initiative that I would like to take now is not only that if East Pakistan could consider soon, at the appropriate time, if it's possible to see when we can enter into discussions, but in order to facilitate the outcome of those discussions, whatever the result, we'll make every sincere effort. Indian troops must vacate the soil of East Pakistan, and there must be disengagement. There must be some progress on the prisoners of war, because so far it is Pakistan alone that has been taking action. And immediately, as soon as feasible, we'd like, without prejudice to the final outcome, I want the people and the leaders of East Pakistan to hear this carefully, without prejudice to the final outcome of our discussions. Either way, without prejudice, I'd like to see restoration of telecommunication links, restoration of PI, because if people are to come and go from both parts, these things will be necessary. Whatever we can do to assist, and I don't like to use the word assist, what we can do to fulfill our duty for food and other requirements, that we are also prepared to do within our resources and our limitations.